Code coverage and software quality. Uncle Bob. Hello, I'm Chris Thanis. I'm a KMP developer. Tech support said they promised me this time they're coming out to close it up, and I don't know about that, but we'll see. I'm going to be reacting to Uncle Bob again, my favorite guy, to complain about and critique, because some of the stuff he says is just like, what are you talking about, man? So I want to know. I'm concerned about code coverage and software quality to a certain degree. Let's see what Uncle Bob says.
Is anybody measuring code coverage? Okay. Do you have a?
I've not been at one company yet that actually took this stuff seriously, but I've seen these hardcore debates online that people actually attempted to do this at one point. This code coverage, code get 100% code coverage, and it was a metric that people did for, I don't know, it was like a couple years. It was a fad, and people realized, oh wait, that's not really the important thing. Let's keep going. Maybe for a library, yeah, but for most web applications, it's an unreasonable goal, and it's like, what are you trying to do? What does that even mean?
A target number. What's the target number? 85. So it's okay if 15% of the code doesn't work.
Okay, that's not what it means. It means that these are the critical paths that we want to maintain these tests on, to maintain that we have some feeling of integrity and being able to change it without having to break 1,000 things at one time. That's the reason why people get this reasonable numbers, and this number 85%. I don't know where that came from. Is that from a study, or common knowledge, like best practices? Like, what is that? What is that even from? And what does it even mean? Like, I want my tests to, I want the happy path to be not broken, and some of the stuff with the unhappy path that we've discovered along the way to not be broken either. But all the different edge cases, look, I don't want to maintain all those tests. I don't want to fix those tests. I want to understand those tests. I don't want to have to go mess with all this. I want to know my app is not completely busted, and some of the common error conditions are fine. And other than that, I think we're good.
Right?
That's just me, though. I'm just crazy like that. But I'm also been in these environments where they want to change something, and it takes, the tests are so fragile. They're so integrated into the implementation to first understand what they were testing, figure out why are some of them turned off, what were they testing, and then to make a test that fits in with how they're doing it, which was clusterfuck. I should not have tried that, but I was trying to fit in. So when you go back to it, Boy Scout style, it makes more sense. And it's just, is the ticket done yet? That was a 2-pointer. Why do you have 16 points? Well, it would turn out this thing's all completely connected together. It's all coupled tightly, like a steel performant drum. It's like, yes, it runs real fast, but like all the people who run on this thing and who understand why we did the coupling this way in these particular fashion, they're no longer here. So I have to figure out from the source code what the heck this was going on here. And it's like, and that's why people just comment out the tests, and they don't try to mess with them. And they're testing implementation or testing some weird detail. Actually, are we testing the database here? Like, why are we? What is this test actually testing? No idea. Just, we were told to make tests. We're doing it. It's getting to the end of the sprint. This is a 2-point thing, and I've already spent 4 points compared to the time, because we're doing time for points. And I don't want to lose my job. My review's coming up, so we're cutting corners on the test.
There's no target number that makes any sense other than 100%.
Oh, yes, there is. I just went over it, Bob.
Right? You can't go around saying, we've got 80% code coverage. Well, I guess 20%.
What does it even mean? See, I think this was what, a tail end of when this presentation happened. It was a couple years ago, and it was at the tail end of this. I think he's still slow to catch on to some of these things. That tested coverage, man, it's not that critical, man. Now, to have the happy path, yes, I've already gone over it. Let's keep going.
Percent doesn't work then. The only target that makes any sense at all is 100%, and you cannot achieve it. You can't get to 100%, so you have to look at it as an
asymptotic, yes.
Asymptotic goal. A goal that you keep on trying. You keep on working to whittle that code coverage down, but you'll never get to 100%.
I mean, it's not desirable. Let's keep. But there was a thing, because anytime there's these metrics that come up, people always want to peg them to 100%. Design patterns came out. They want to use all of them in the application. It's like, come on. So these are ideas to be conceptualized, but autists and Asperger's, which I am one of them, they will have a tendency to take it all or nothing, black or white thinking, without any trying to do nuance because their problems are so big. They get buy-in for this one thing, and they have to do it pedal to the metal and prove that it works, and then realize it was just something to think about and ideas to consider. So it's a ratio to like just to give you a general idea. I mean, even the code coverage metric was kind of silly because it's just a I don't know who I think it might have been a psyop by some of these companies to like push this extra workload onto smaller companies who can't absorb that kind of thing. Larger companies, yeah, they can write tests and test the database and test that it will true equals true, that kind of stuff. Oh, the library is doing whatever we say, but we're not doing publishing the library. We're just using the library. We're just testing the library works. It's all that kind of stuff. I'm like, what are we testing here? Like, and that's like, we're getting 100% test coverage. All right. And you wonder why things take forever to change. Let's keep going.
Number 2, don't let managers see that number ever.
Oh, really? Did that work out for you, Bob? We're just keeping secrets from managers, not trying to inform them like this metric doesn't make a lot of sense. It may have been a psyop. Like, what do we actually try? Like, the things we want to measure, like the happy path and the unknown 80% grouping of the unhappy path. And trying to convince management, like, let them, why are they managers if they don't understand some of these things? That's the other thing too. It's like, okay, well, there's stakeholders that may need to have some education, but the managers should kind of know some of this stuff. And the fact they don't is a big problem.
It is not a management metric. Managers don't understand what the metric means. Code coverage doesn't mean anything outside of the context of the team.
Correct. As most of these metrics, but somehow, for some reason, management's finding out about these things. They're logging into the Jira. They're seeing our burn down chart. They're seeing our test coverage reports. They're wondering why isn't this 100%? Well, industry standard is 85. Well, we've got 83. Why don't we have 83%? Well, do we want to focus on making tests? Is that what we're doing? We're stopping features, stopping asking about the customer for new changes, and we're going to make it more robust. Is that what we want to do? Because there's better ways to do that other than just adding tests. We can make it more robust in other ways. I mean, we'll have a minimal set of tests to make sure we don't have to manually test this damn thing every time we go to release it. But like, what do you mean?
Team understands what it means. The team knows that those are the lines of code that are executed, and the team understands how many asserts are in the tests. If you make this a management metric, and by God help you, if you actually put it in the build and fail the build if you don't meet the number.
Yeah, that's it's not, again, meaningless. I know what we're trying to do with this metric. We're going to say that all the code has some sort of testing thing on it. Now, on Android, this is not possible, first of all, because of just how the Android system is set up. The operating system this testing stuff came on after Android. This testing stuff is like an afterthought. It really needs to be built into the operating system, and this needs a whole new revamp. The computer revolution hasn't happened yet. We still have the Alan Kay vision that's still going to come along at some point. Somebody's going to figure out what Alan Kay was talking about and realize we don't need to do small talk, but we have to have something like that. And we have to build it up from the bottom to the top. And then with this whole testing stuff built into it, we can build a harness around it. And we can automate the whole thing. It's not this special closed box stuff. Let's keep going.
Then what happens is the programmers, in order to make the number, will start pulling asserts out of the tests. And the tests will become meaningless, and the code coverage number will shoot through the sky. You can get,
I guess,
100% that way. Don't do that. This is not a management metric. It's a team metric. It's a personal introspection metric. You get
okay, so I get into the personal introspection for the team only aspect. And when I talk about experience points inside adventure-driven development, which I have a whole video series on that, and it explores this particular topic right here. Instead of trying to do code coverage, we should be giving out experience points, and it's only for the team to know who's been putting in effort and who's been having to deal with hard problems or things that are just annoying. And it's like, I'm going to take an emotional hit just by looking at this thing. So it's like pain in the ass factor. It's not effort. It's like, how much is this gonna hurt?
Coverage of the code that you are working on. The team gets the coverage of the code they are working on. They look at it privately. They assess what it means in the context of the system.
Okay, I see. Sometimes he says stuff that's like I agree with. Sometimes he says stuff that's like, okay, Bob, you kind of do get it, I guess.
Accordingly, but they don't publish the number, and it is not a goal.
But they're gonna publish it because everyone. That's one of the things they were started to make a big deal about. When the managers found out they have a KPI for that could be a raw number on code quality, because well, they know they don't know. They take your word for it. They have to take your word for it. So it's like, all right. That's my rant. Give me a like and subscribe. Go give Dev Tools Made Simple like and subscribe. They put out good work. Make it fun. All right. I'll talk to you later.